You guys know what time it is. Hey, what's going on, you guys? It's May 14th. We're 2 weeks into the month, and it's Thursday. You know what time it is. It's Q&A, and we're going to do some role play. We're going to Q&A, do a little question answer, and any tips or tricks that maybe you guys are curious about. This is your business, and I'd love and be honored to help you. I'm curious. I want to go around the room first and foremost, kind of see where everybody's at. Right now, there's, the four of you plus myself. And as people jump in, we'll try and get as many questions and answers knocked out. But in the meantime, if you are watching this on the live, there's a link down below in the comments section. Please jump in here with us. Don't hesitate to click the link and join us live. This is a Thursday Q&A. This is your business. And it's an honor for me to be able to contribute my experience. I don't claim to know everything, but I do know what it takes. And if I don't know the answer to your question, I will find it and make sure that I get back to you. So all that to say, let's start with Kazeem. Kazeem, what are some results? What are some wins that maybe you've had this week? And tell us kind of where you're at.
Yeah, for me, I think the main win is that I've decided to narrow down my focus. Because before I was looking at properties like in New York, in New Jersey, and also in Las Vegas. But we had a meeting, me and you, Bryce, like 2 weeks ago, and we decided to narrow down the focus. So right now I'm focusing on just the Houston market, and I'm looking at houses that have an ARV of 250K or less. So just trying to narrow down my focus, and from there just continue to work the leads and the list that I have. And I'm sure we'll get some results very soon, because right now we're like trying to get more focused on just one particular market and just one range of prices.
I love that. And that's a great market to be starting out in. You can really get some low-hanging fruit there. And so you should be super excited. So congratulations on that. Bernie, how's your week wrapping up, my friend?
Good.
Just, give us a win. What can we celebrate with you today?
Well, I don't really have, I guess sort of have a win. I've kind of decided to put the wholesaling on the back burner and concentrate more on the party houses with rent to own with owner financing. I think I'm going to come that way now. Okay.
Well, I would ask, and I've told you this before, that you just get laser focused, whether that's your wholesaling business. I mean, you fully understand it. I do know that there's been some challenges up until this point, just keeping a consistent schedule with, your cold calling as you've expressed in the past, and following up to the leads that you have. And so it might be a little easier to have those conversations where you can create win-win situations with people that want to sell their house but necessarily can't go the traditional route. So I congratulate you on that, man. Good for you. Absolutely. I love the conversation before we went live as well, and the accountability that you guys have created between you and your accountability partner, Bernie. I appreciate that. Thank you to both you and Mike for staying consistent with that. And I can really tell that you're both leveraging your skills to help each other out and at the same time make some money together. I like that. McLean, what about you, buddy? I'm going to come over to you next, my friend. How's your week wrapping up? I know you got some big plans tomorrow to make some announcements. I'm excited to see you do that, man.
Yeah, I was going to say my big announcement for the week is I made it to 5 o'clock, and I'm actually typing up my resignation right now for the morning.
Have you gotten paid yet? Are you going to wait to get paid on those?
That hits at midnight tonight. So
so 12:07, you're going to make sure it hits and then do that, right?
No, I'm going to put it on the auto send.
12:01.
You better make sure that check clears, man. Well, man, I appreciate you, McLean, and I'll ask you a favor, if I may. If you're okay with it, I'd like to do an interview with you. I haven't done this in a while with our academy, but if you're open to it, I'd love to just do an interview with you and kind of walk through those steps from when you started out 9 months ago to 12 months or less. Here's my goal. I want to quit my job, and here we are at like 9 months. and you quit that 9 to 5. So if you're open to that, I'd love to do an interview with you in the next week or two. Are you open? Are you down?
I don't think I have any free time next week.
Hey, that's a great problem to have.
I'm just kidding. Yeah, we do.
I love it. I love it. Congratulations on that, man. So outside of like quitting your 9 to 5, talk about your real estate business. Like I seen you posted something about you had 3 different screens up and your story there and you were grinding. Tell us about your week. Like how are you wrapping up with deals this week?
So I've got 3 deals closing the next 2 weeks. 2 of them have been deals from hell, for lack of better words, chasing down heirs, people that have died, their kids. But we finally got clear title early this week on all 3 of them. And so we're getting set up for next week and the week after for closing. One of my partners that flips in the local area, she just brought me on to take on her acquisitions. And she's also going to teach me how to flip. And also I get to shack up in her 4,000 square foot office building and have my own area.
It's a great problem to have.
Oh yeah. So we've got that going on.
A little bit.
Yeah. I'd say get me out of the house, go walk around and taste that freedom.
I love it. Congratulations, man. Congratulations. Wade just jumped in. I see you, brother. Thank you for joining us, man. Well, congratulations on that, McLean. I appreciate you sharing, man, and I'm excited. I'd love. Where's the office going to be? Is it here in Dallas or out there by you? Where's it at?
Oh, out here by me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very cool.
We've got kind of a long-term plan, so it'll be in the works.
I love it. Well, I'm looking forward to getting to hear a little bit more about that as that progresses, man. Thank you for sharing that, brother. Michael Ardner, how's your week wrapping up, brother?
Oh, it's good. It's hard to follow this man. The man's quitting his job, hitting this full time. I mean, that's just spectacular. That's congratulations on that. That's far better than any win that I have, man. Me, I've mastered cutting my hair. But, you know, it's taken me a little bit of quarantine, but I got it down. I just got a new set of clippers. So no, this week's actually turning out pretty good. This is like the first week that I've really been able to hit the phone. So I've been consistent, with hitting a bunch of phones. I got sellers that are calling me and I got buyers that are calling me. So I've just been on the phone, nonstop. So I'm close to putting out about 3 contracts. I'm hopefully going to sign one tomorrow with any luck, which would be a nice little cash flow deal. And more importantly is I'm trying to set up this week, spend a lot of focus in doing like a flow chart on how the process goes with the triple ripple and all that stuff, and how the whole call process forms out. And we're setting all that up in the VA system, in the CRM system, and we're because that's kind of the one thing. I was making calls, but they weren't being followed up on unless I'm calling them. And so, I know that a lot of people in this group gets a decent amount of calls from sending out those emails and sending out that triple ripple and that text and all that stuff. So we really try to make an effort to get that kicked out this week. So I flow charted on the seller calls, and then I'm finishing up the buyer calls today. So it's
now, is that in the software or is that just kind of mapping it out so you have a better understanding to where you need to jump in and actually do those calls? I'm curious.
It's a combination of both. If you want, I can let me see if I can post that bad boy.
No, don't share your screen because we're live in a public group.
What it kind of looks like.
I would appreciate that.
Yeah. Oh. Okay.
But
here, I can put it in. Well, yeah. If you want, I can put it in the chat or something like that. It's but basically, it's a combination. Like it shows where I do the initial call, and then from there, and then whether I get a hold of them or not, and then the actions that are taken from that. So, like if I don't get a hold of them, an email gets sent out and says, "Hey, I tried to reach you by phone," and then it shows. Then it sends then I send a text message saying, I'm interested in buying your place. I'm not a realtor. I'm interested in buying your place. And then after that, The email goes out saying, I tried to reach you by phone. Tomorrow I'm going to send you out a video on how buying houses with the terms business works. And then I send out a text message saying that, hey, I just sent you out your video on how the terms thing works, and this is how I'm going to be buying your place. And then it asks the question if you're interested and this sounds good, or if click the button, and then that goes into the CRM, and then that comes in as a hot lead, and then if it doesn't, then it stays there, and then it gets an email every 3 days. Send out an email with tips and tricks and how to sell your house and this, that, and the other thing. And then, at the end it says you cut to the chase and click the button, and
Well, it's interesting you mentioned that, because I'm actually leveraging the same side of the software for that purpose, right? But for marketing, and not just marketing to sellers, but to future Academy members, as we're getting ready to do a major relaunch. We've been overhauling. Heck, I just recorded these are 32 videos that we just recorded to drop in with about 200 emails that we had a copywriter drop. And so I'm glad you're leveraging that. So good for you, man. Good for you. You can do that. What's really neat is, and you may already know this, you can do that all right from the CRM. Oh, okay. Well, see, I'm using the CRM that I get with Ron LeGrand. Okay. Because I'm getting the VA minutes through him. So for $600 a month, I get 20 hours of 25 hours of VA time plus the CRM built in, and their CRM is robust. It's just a matter of setting up tasks, so once this gets coded this way, then that goes out, etc. So I'm gonna recommend that you set up a call next week with Nerdiva, because she can take those leads, grab them, and push them into Podio, so that way you can use the software that we have. Yeah, I have a call with her tomorrow. Okay. Yeah, so you can grab that lead and push it into one, so that you have all of your leads, and you can separate them between pretty and ugly houses into different workspaces inside of your CRM. And then based upon the status, as you click through them, all of that can be automated with the email drips, text, and RVMs all in one place, versus working in 3 different places. Yeah. Plus, I also like the fact that there's a dialer in her system, so that I can just push the button and we're calling 3 people at the same time. Exactly. Very cool. Very cool. Well, thank you for sharing that, man. If you guys are watching this on the live, please click the pin link below. Jump in with us if you've got questions. Minion, I see you, bro, out there at the boxing ring. I love it. Thanks for jumping in. Are you actually at the gym, or are you at home in your garage gym?
No, I just got through in my garage. Got one of my fighters over there. His butt is worn out. So I told him, I was like, oops, man, you get a break today because I got to jump on a call. So he's kind of worn out. I let him throw punches at me for a while, kind of like sellers do us. It sounds like coach is coaching, right? Oh yeah, but I'm good. I'm here with you guys now.
I love it. So we're just going through some wins and something that we can celebrate with each other. I've got you and Wade left to ask, and then I want to jump into some Q&A and some role playing and maybe some tips that we can help you guys out with. So Minion, how's your week wrapping up? Tell us about maybe a deal that you've been able to accomplish, and what's a win that we can all celebrate with you, man?
So we got one today that I think they're going to take, and this is an affirmation on follow up, multiply that crap times 100. I can't tell y'all how many leads done told me to F off, and I done called them back 3 months later, F off again, 6 months later, F off again, 9 months. You know what, Minnie? You're the only person keeping in touch with me. Let's talk.
That triple ripple works, don't it?
Oh yeah, I didn't even know I was doing triple ripple. I just knew keep bugging them until they tell me to stop. But this one is, I'm gonna do a lease purchase on it again. I'm extending the lease out 6 to 12 months. I'm gonna take control of the property under a lease with the right to sublease. The property's free and clear. I'm gonna give them $5K more than I would have gave them on a low ball offer. And right now, no rent credits, it's going to be in my favor. So rent credit, all that kind of stuff, lease, whatever. So it gives me the opportunity to go in, slap some paint on it, and finish the floors. And we got another rental property just like that off the bat. I can be done in a week.
I love it.
Where is the place located in?
Charleston.
Austin?
Yeah, Charleston, South Carolina.
Oh, okay. Nice, nice.
I love it. Congratulations on that, Minion. I appreciate you. Wade, my friend, thanks for jumping in here, man. Tell us how your week's wrapping up. What can we celebrate with you?
It's good, man. So I don't know, put an offer in on a house, so we'll know by Monday. So it's probate that both the daughters are good to go with. Brother's a CPA, wants to get an appraisal. I'm like, have at it, man. So it's good spread. Ironically, man, the markets are crazy. I mean, it's like 15% drop in 30 days on the ARV. So got to be careful. Got to be careful on those numbers.
Definitely got to be careful. I wouldn't start out at anything more than 65. We got two yesterday, not today. We got two yesterday at like 50 and 55 less the rehab on them. So I'm with you. I'm seeing the same thing. Same neighborhood, been negotiating these folks, and they dropped about 10 to 15%. So I would definitely agree with that, man. How were you able to overcome that, or have you been able to overcome that yet?
You know, the funny part of it is I didn't even have to overcome it. It seemed the feedback that I got from them, and I asked him directly, you know, where'd you come up with that number at? He said he went online to a site called HomeLight.
Yeah.
And I'd never heard of HomeLight before. But he said, yeah, they said it was from here to here, you know, and even Zillow knocked that sucker down. So it seems like the national sites are I don't know if they're getting their head out of their ass and figuring out that, you know, their inflated values don't make any sense, or what it is, but didn't really have to work on it that hard. It was more of it was more of a helpful deal, because we told them that, hey, we'll clean this out. And that was a big thing, big plus. When you're dealing with 3 siblings that are out of town, none of them want to come back and screw with all that crap that's in there. They pick through what they want. And we told them that, you know, whatever's left, whatever we don't repurpose, we'll send to the church, and they were cool with it. So, you know, be a solution.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. Yeah, I've heard of HomeLight. I don't know much about it. I think it's, you can like locate, if I recall, like you can buy, sell, or locate an agent to help you with it, and they give you a estimate price. But
right.
I think it's right here in Texas. I don't know how national it is, but I don't know much about it. So
yeah.
Cool, man. Well, I appreciate you for sharing that. So you guys, this is your call. It's Thursday, and it's Q&A. It's role play. It's tips. It's tricks. It's techniques. You know, if there's something that maybe you've been working on, you want a little help with, that's what we're here for. So we don't have to be, but I make this time available for you. So what can I help you guys with?
Skip trace. The last 3 hours I've been going through, and it's really weird because I'm using Skip Genie. They're supposed to be fantastic, which they are, but they'll kick out like 5 different freaking numbers for somebody. And so, you know, I'm using the smart credits and using the identification on them, which to me, these damn services should include that in the first place. You know, it's BS wasting time. But you know, doing the call through and switching over to a VA, it's like I'm fighting how do I deal with the VA? Because like I'm going through these numbers and it's like there's 10 different freaking numbers. How do you keep them from wasting all that damn time?
So I heard a couple of questions or concerns there. So frustrations with the skip tracing is it's something that, you know, they're pulling aggregated data. We all kind of understand how that works. And if you don't, it basically, you know, they're pulling an address and they're pulling data, phone numbers, emails, names, all of that associated with that address. Some go back 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, and that's how there's multiple names and multiple phone numbers and things like that. The second part of that, the more direct question is how do you keep your virtual assistants focused on for productivity purposes? Is that what I'm hearing?
Well, yeah, it's like, you know, I'm looking at one guy and he's got 7 different wireless numbers associated with his name on a pull. And I don't know if it's because, you know, they changed their number because they've had so much crap that's going on. If that's just become, it's kind of like the young kids with a job, you know, they've had 11 different damn jobs by the time they're 30 years old,
Right.
you know, because they get sick and tired of it. I don't know if people are changing phone numbers out like, you know, like their underwear every week kind of thing, but what's the deal? I mean, I don't know if we're just getting that or if it's just, you know, they're recycling numbers quicker.
I think that as technology grows and as people mature, I think it's a little bit of both. But this is just an opinion. This is a thought that I've had many times, you know, looking at skip trace, like how does this one have 1 number, but this one has 7, right?
Yeah.
And it could be a combination of things. It could be, well, maybe this house has changed hands a few times. Maybe it, you know, if it changes hands 3 times, right, and each person has 2 numbers, well, now there's 6 numbers attached to that address in a 3 or 4 year period. That could be a possibility. The other side of it is your thought, kind of confirming your thought. And I was just actually thinking about this. Again, this is an opinion, but because technology is so prevalent and you can just like pick up and leave and bring your technology with you, right? Like I can bring all of my contacts and all of my social media from one phone to the next and one carrier to the next.
Right.
What's holding me to a specific phone number? I send out a text message to all my contacts real quick and, hey, this is my new number. Or somebody shoots me a message on Facebook. Hey, I tried to call you. Did you get a new number? Yeah, I did. By the way, here it is. Right? I mean, when we do change numbers, I hate changing numbers, but when we do, I mean, that's what we do. Right?
Yeah.
As far as the productivity goes for the VAs, one of the things that we do that might help, are you using a power dialer or are you using single dialer?
No, I haven't set one up. I'm actually debating doing it. So,
okay.
I mean, they want $9 an hour.
Okay. I mean, that's not bad. That's not bad. So one of our gals has her own dialer, and so she doesn't use ours, and it's a single dialer. And what she does is she runs through the list. She just uploads 1 column at a time. So she'll just go boom, 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 trying to find that low-hanging fruit, and then she'll go to the next list. So as you upload your columns, right, have them go and sort, you know, just upload, you know, name, address, and phone number here, and then hide that column and do it again with the next column, hide that column and do it with the next one. That's for your VAs that are using a single dialer. Those power dialers, it really doesn't make a whole heck of a lot of difference because it's going to aggregate that list and it's just going to be calling them to whoever picks up, you know, so it's not, it doesn't really make a huge difference if they've got a multi-line dialer because it's going to grab that entire sheet and whichever number it is, it's going to go back to that name and address associated with it and create that lead. If you're using manual dialing, you know, your VA doesn't have a power dialer and maybe you can't afford to offer a power dialer for her or him, whomever you're using, then I would go back to that kind of that same theory with the single dialer going through just 1 column at a time and just all the way down before you move on to that next column. Does that make sense?
VA Hub online, and they suggested they're already trained in call tools, so it's not something you have to retrain them on.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, if they're already familiar with that, then I mean, they're going to have, you know, the most efficient system already lined out with their dialer. So,
okay,
you know,
appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. That's a great question, though. It's something that we don't normally think about, right? Like if you and just keeping them focused and making sure that they're time blocked, and you can actually tap in a lot of them, especially if they're using call tools or Mojo, like you can get their reports. And so I would just make sure that you're very direct. Most VAs, you know, depending on where they're at in the world, you know, if they're in South America or the Philippines, where the majority of external or outside of the US VAs are, they're pretty diligent about tracking their hours because they love to live up to your expectations. And so if they're not doing something, and I think, you know, Kazeem and I experienced this, right? Like him and I coaching one-on-one, he was getting frustrated. It's like, bro, you're their boss and they really look at you like that. You have to be very direct and like, hey, this is what I need. I need you to do this, this, and this. And when you set those expectations from the very beginning, that firm tonality and direction, you know, they'll give you exactly what you want, but they don't give you much more than that. And so as hiring a VA, you know, making sure that you're crystal clear on those expectations and boundaries, like, you know, hey, don't just kick me anything. I only want them if they meet this criteria, but I also need some of this information too. It helps, right? And being crystal clear on those expectations helps you or helps them help you. And so that's probably the best tip I could give you in working with the VA. And like I said, Kazeem and I experienced that with his VAs because he was just like, he was frustrated. And I was frustrated with him, right? Wasn't I, Kazeem? I was like, dude, we're going to go in. I was going to chew their ass. And I started asking questions. And I realized, well, I didn't give Kazeem enough direction, and Kazeem didn't have enough information to give them direction. And so I even, you know, I was willing to admit that, right? And I just assumed because they had worked with other clients that they kind of knew, but they didn't. They look at every client new as a fresh face. So thank you, McLean, for jumping on. I appreciate you, bro. I know you got to go. So yeah, that would be one of the first things I could tell you. Of hiring a VA, make sure that your expectations are crystal clear. And if you forget something or leave something out, go back and say, hey, I know we said this. I also need this, this, and this, whatever that may be.
Right.
And just to add to that.
Yeah, go ahead, Kazeem. You want to add to that?
It's also good to have weekly meetings or just consistent checkpoints just to see how things are going. And, you know, sometimes I also try to role play with my VA so that we both sharpen our you know, conversation skills. So I also do that sometimes.
Agree. Absolutely agree. While we're on that subject of weekly meetings, Kazeem, what are the odds I can bump our meeting up about an hour tomorrow?
Till 2:15?
Yeah. Well, it's 12:15 my time, so whatever that is, your time.
Yeah, we can do that.
So I'm going to move it to 11.
11:15 Eastern time or 12:15 Eastern time?
11 a.m. Central time.
Yeah.
All right. Boom. I've got to catch a flight at 2 o'clock, and I forgot to call you.
Okay. So good.
Appreciate it.
Hey,
Good stuff. Go ahead, Bernie.
Wade, if I were you, I'd make sure you call all those numbers because my wife works for Arabic people. And I will tell you, in the Arabic family, like the father takes care of a lot of the family, like their bills and all that stuff. So it could be that it's that person's number, but it's listed under the dad's name. And I will tell you too, here, a lot of families, they own, it's the whole family that owns a property. So it's like the dad, the son, the uncles, the nephews, and all that. So it could be one of their numbers. That could be all of their numbers too.
Who is that tip for, Bernie?
Hey,
Gotcha. Sorry, I couldn't hear you very well.
when he was talking about having the 7 different numbers for one name,
Oh, I got you. Sure. Sure.
that's a lot of the reason why. It might be 7 different people's phone numbers, but the dad or the head of the family is the one paying the bill, so it's in their name.
I gotcha. So it's all in one person's name attached to the address, but there's multiple people that have nothing to do with the deal kind of thing. Is that what you're saying?
There'd be multiple people that do have something to do with the deal because the whole family owns the house.
Oh, gotcha. Gotcha. Yeah, no, that makes sense. Yeah, that's a rare occasion, but definitely a scenario that's not to be ruled out.
Right. Well, it's probably rare in your area, but it happens a whole lot up here because outside of the Middle East, Detroit, Michigan has the largest Arabic population.
Really?
Yes, sir.
That's an interesting fun fact on Thursday.
You go to Dearborn at like 5 o'clock in the afternoon, and all of a sudden you just hear this.
Bernie, you're killing me. I'm muting you, bro. Let's talk about real estate. I'm just kidding. You're not on mute, but I definitely understand your concern there. So who's got clients they need to call? Who wants to do some role playing? I see Karen and Luke and Vanessa watching us online.
I got a quick question, if you don't mind me asking. I don't want to bogart the session, but I just got a quick question. What for the private money lenders in the county index? Is it a particular type of lien, or are you only searching specifically for lien? Or is it better to search for release of lien?
When you're at the courthouse, you mean, like searching
online access to public records? I'm looking for private money. Private money guys are obviously issuing private money with liens that are getting set up at the courthouse. So is it a lien, or is it a particular type of instrument that you can help focus in on finding those private money people?
So you're saying how can you reverse engineer that free information? Is that what you're asking?
To find private money people. Yep.
Yeah, so that's an interesting one. I can't say that I've ever done that, to be honest with you. Okay. But I can say, thinking, shooting from the hip, look at kind of what we do on the wholesale side, right? A lot of us, and more recently myself included, as people are being, buttholes out there in the market and trying to steal people's deals, putting memorandums of contract. And so a lot of times the private money guys do the same thing. They'll put a memorandum on it so that it's a mechanics thing. So you can search memos, but you can also do the release of lien filings, like you were assuming. You can search those. Those are the two that I would search, just shooting from the hip. Now, another resource that I know my former partner, his original partner before I came in, Scott, what he did was he would actually reach out to title companies and pull, stop in or make a phone call, hey, I'm working a deal, just kind of play it off like he's not a very big guy. And then you can also always Google search. You'd be surprised how many private money guys have a website, a cheap generic website that has their online application. So that way they're not bombarded by it because they have a normal 9 to 5 or whatever. But a lot of title companies actually will refer you to a guy or two here and there.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's cool.
Yeah. And then of course you've got, 50,000, cash buyer groups and private money groups and things like that on social media too.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Hey, piggybacking on that question. So let's say, because I have been driving, I've been joining private money groups. What do you think the best way of easing yourself in there? I mean, obviously warm with form and all that stuff, but how do you come across without sounding too, I'm here to borrow money. Who's got it to lend to me?
I think you'd be surprised. A lot of those guys are a lot more to the point, right? Like they've got the extra money to throw around. So they want to see a deal or they want to see what you're looking for, right? Like what their criteria are. So if you're having a in-person conversation and you get to that point where you're starting to ask those defeating questions in your conversation, it's not nearly as long of a conversation that we would have with the seller, but with the lender, once you've kind of built that rapport and asking them, what exactly is it that you enjoy lending on? Like, is there any deal that you just won't look at kind of thing? Or is there anything that you prefer to have up front? And what do you need from me for us to work together? Right.
Qualifying questions, what kind of deals they most enjoy, and then just
what kind of deals, Mike? So if you were lending, right? If I found out you were a lender, I assumed you were lending, right? Like, I'm curious, Mike, like if you were to lend somebody money today, like what does that look like? Do you need to know bedrooms, baths, square footage, or do you just need to know what the numbers are, like ARV, rehab, and overall, cash out price? Like, what does that look like for you? Are you looking for something specific, or do you lend on any kind of deal as long as a certain criteria is met? Right. And what you guys know, like when you give people options, they'll go one way or another. They'll always go in what they're preferred. But there's always, if they're going toward what's preferred, 9 times out of 10, they're gonna have a kind of a bottom line. Like it has to meet these criteria, right? So this is the preferred, but it has to meet these criteria. And so I would say asking those types of questions, just kind of depending on what you're looking at.
Okay. Thanks.
Yeah, that's a great question, man. Great question. You guys are gonna have a lot more resources too. I know I mentioned this last week, and you guys met Kyle. He can't jump on today as he's traveling, but my new partner, that's all he does. I've been learning so much in the last 2 months, 3 months that we've been working behind the scenes on this stuff. But he's got hundreds of millions of dollars in lenders at his disposal, and he's been doing that for years, right? Lending private money, and that's something that eventually we'll be getting into to help you guys out as members of our academy. But in the meantime, he's got a lot of those connections on that side where I just don't, right? Like I wholesale, I train, speak, and teach sales and wholesaling.
Hook me up, man.
What's that?
Hook me up.
With Kyle?
Right?
Hook us up.
I know. Wade asked me a while back. I was like, I just can't do it right now. So, but it's coming. It's coming. And so Kyle and I've been working on something for about 2 months now, and pretty excited for you guys. And you guys all get that as being a part of the academy. So
Cool.
Hey, do you recommend doing videos on your emails when you're sending out emails? I know that you enjoy doing videos and there's no shame in your game whatsoever. So It comes natural, but for someone like me, like I literally did my first Facebook Live today, and it was like all of 10 seconds.
yeah.
and I felt uncomfortable.
Yet,
I felt like I was asking a girl out on a date for the first time. My hands were sweating. I'm like, oh my God, turning red. It was just brutal.
Now you understand my pain, my friend.
Yeah, but you pull it off nicely. Hey, you know what time it is, and you just roll right with it, man. It comes right off the tongue so smooth.
So to answer your question, two parts. One, videos will definitely get you a better open rate, because when you attach the video, have you ever noticed, like when you get an email and it's got the header at the end, it says FWD on it, or it just says video, or it says like MP4 or something on the end of the subject line.
Okay.
So they tend to get open more than just like a text email. But also the subject line is the catchy part, right? Like I like a lot of like catastrophe words, like the tornado's coming, or did you see that tornado yesterday? Or, you know, the hurricane's on its way. Like just things that like kind of, you know, grab people's attention, because open rates are going down drastically more and more, because people want that quick response, that text message, that instant message from Messenger or IG or whatever, right? That said, with some of that software that you guys have access to, you can do that. You can send them, you know, video text messages. You can do, you know, like the messenger post inside of Be Social. If you've got Be Social, like you can do like messenger posts and things like that. And that would be something, you know, in your meeting with Brandon tomorrow to talk about. But I would highly recommend doing video for messages. That way they see your face, they can see your sincerity. They know you're serious because you're taking the time, like, hey, you reached out to me about selling your house, and I just want to let you know that I'm here, but I can only work for people that are serious about working with me. If you're serious, reply back to this message with the hell yes, or whatever, right? You know, whatever that message is along that path or that thread that you're in, absolutely a video message is going to get 10 times the response than it would just a typed out email.
Okay. Bring on the pain.
So Bryce, in regards to marketing, right? So talking about which methods are more effective, would you say text messaging leads without them knowing that you're expecting it? Would you say that's a good way to, you know, start that conversation? Or would you say, you know, it's better to go a different route? I'm just curious as to your observations on, you know, cold texting.
Yeah, so there's a couple of laws that have just recently passed where, like, unless it's just a couple at a time, like you really have to stagger them. You can get into a lot of trouble doing mass text right now. One of the things that, you know, our software does is kind of screen those, especially if they're on the do not call list. It's stupid because if they're still on the list, but they've opted in over here, like they don't know it, but they, you know, if they wanted to raise suit and call the FCC and report you, you could be looking at some trouble. Now, if they did that and you were in compliant, which Kazeem, you would be using our program, right? Like it would just be a hassle. It'd be something that you're not going to want to deal with. Now, as far as your question goes specifically, like what is easier? Is that what you're asking?
What's
like,
more effective? Like what do you think it's more effective? Would you say email marketing, text marketing? Like what's your observations on those methods?
Yeah, text over email all day long. Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, text over email all day long. If you can do a video text, even better, right? Like people love seeing your face. People love hearing your voice, and even if it's just a voice message, right? You know, if you leave a voice message and send that via text, and they can hear you. But if you do that, make sure that you follow that up with like your phone number or whatever with a text, so they can just click on it and call you right back. You'd be surprised, even though on your same phone. On your phone, they could hit your number at the top of where they got the text from. They won't, but if it's in the text message, it's so interesting how the psyche works. I was looking at a study about a month ago. You're about 3 times more likely to get somebody to call you back on a text message if you say, call me back at this number. And it may be the same damn number, but if you're in a text message, let me just pull up a text message, right? Like, this is a closing deals text message, some deposits, right? But you could hit this number right up here and make the phone call. Or if there was a phone number down here that said, call this number and click it, right, to dial out, for whatever reason, it's about 3 times more the response by having it in your text message. So I like to leave a voice message, especially if you guys have ever gotten like a Facebook Messenger message. You guys have noticed, like, you know, hey, here's my voice message, and then I'll put, you know, like a message with a link below, right? Or, you know, hey, I'm driving right now. but go ahead and jump on this link at whatever, and then I'll type it out below rather than, hey, jump on my calendar. You know what I mean? So combining the two with a short text, like call me here, and a voice message or a video message helps amplify that response.
Question.
Yep.
What do you think of, are you familiar with that Calendly app?
That's what I use for my calendar schedule. When you go to schedule a call with me, that's what it is.
Oh, okay. How do you like that? And do you recommend, like, for example, I was thinking about using that in an email saying that, hey, if you're ready to sell your place, book the call immediately. And then it'll go right to that and show them what times are available and just have them book it right there.
So that's a great question. I love that question, actually, because that's one of the challenges that I'm looking and working through right now on the academy side, right? And building the coaching thing back up. And I love for specific meetings. And what I mean by that is, like, let's say you're meeting for title company, right? Like, you can use that Calendly app, or you can just use your Google Calendar, but you can have the title company send that out, on your behalf with your link, which is one of the things that we just started doing. And they can send 2 or 3 options. Like, all of our closings typically happen on Thursday, right? Like I just showed my text message, we had 3 today. Well, they only happen on Thursday because if there's challenges, then they still have Friday to kind of clear them up, versus waiting all week and then they close on Monday and then it funds on Tuesday, and you were supposed to close on Friday. Now you got a pissed off homeowner or buyer or all of the above, right? But we send out, they have our link, and when they send out their HUD, they have our link that says schedule at this, these 3 times, kind of like when you guys schedule a call with me, right? Like, I've got the 60-minute link that you guys get being a part of the academy to set with me. And that's only on Fridays. Like, my whole Friday is dedicated to you guys. And so you can set the parameters around that. But as far as a lead coming in, I would not have a specific time. I would have them fill out, I would not use Calendly, and I would have them do like a web form of some sort, to where, they input, maybe like a Google form sheet, name, address, phone number, and best time to reach you at. So that way it's just a lead coming in.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because you should be prioritizing your follow-up, at a certain time. So like 3 to 5 every day, except for, 3 to 5 every day, except for on Wednesdays, I do 4 to 6, is my prospecting time. So for those 2 hours a day, like, I don't take any calls, I don't do anything, right? But I'm calling those leads that are inbound. Does that make sense?
Sure.
So I get to it on my schedule, and I'm consistent with that follow-up. So if I'd miss them today, I'll get them tomorrow or the next day. So they got 3 calls within the same 3 to 5 time frame. They know that that's the best time to reach me. Like, this guy keeps calling me about 4 o'clock. I better call him back, or I'm going to answer his call, right? Or they'll try to call back at another time, and I just don't answer. Like, I don't answer those calls if it's 8 in the morning when I'm doing my meditation or devotion. I just don't.
So you're hardcore that way with your time blocking.
Absolutely.
If it doesn't follow in what you're trying to accomplish in your time block, it can wait.
I have to be.
Oh, wow.
I have to be. And that's why it's color coded. Like, these are my income producing activities. Like, this is what I'm doing. This is where it's at. And you can see all the way across there, other than Wednesday from 3 to 5, that's what I'm doing. And then at 3 o'clock, the first 15 minutes of that calling prospecting is catching up with my acquisition team. And those acquisition managers are, whatever 2 or 3 calls or clients that they need to be called, we call them together. Yep.
Hey, Bryce.
Yeah.
if I may chime in about the Calendly and putting that link inside of the text. Now, I've only done this run and I did it just a few days ago. We sent out a text message to 17 incoming leads from Facebook ads, right? So my text message, limited on characters, I send it back, yada, yada, yada. Please respond with the time or book on my calendar. Not a single person booked on my calendar. They didn't even follow the instructions. They said, yeah, call me tomorrow after 10. Another person said, call me tonight. I think another one just picked the phone up and called me in the middle of dinner. Like, so based off that first run, I think it looks more professional. I have to say that, but nobody touched my calendar. Nobody touched it. And I use Calendly and I love it.
Yeah, I love the Calendly app, and I love that you clarified that, because that reminded me of one other point I was going to make. If you, let's say that your calendar gets booked up with 5 calls in the morning, and you're sitting there waiting to get back with them, right? Like, okay, at 10 o'clock, I got a call. At 10:20, I got a call. At 10:40, I got a call. 11 o'clock, I got a call. And 11:30, I got a call, right? Well, guess what? You have this call, it overlaps this call, or this call doesn't show up, and now you're stuck twiddling your thumb for 30 minutes. Oh, shit, this guy didn't answer. Now you're stuck twiddling your thumb, and you just effed off an hour. You just wasted your time. That's the other thing. They won't show up. They'll set. That's why I started billing people. Like, you set a time on my calendar and you don't show up, I'm going to send you a bill for $250, and I need to charge more, but I have been. And then after 30 days, I send a collections. That's just the way it is.
Oh man, I got to talk to you about that collection stuff.
Yeah.
But
You want to do some collections for me?
No. But I need some people to know that I'm dead serious, and that's why my phone calls are like this. But
shoot me an email and I'll forward you my guy. They work for free and based on performance, and they take 30%. So it's pretty standard across the board. They don't have any additional fees other than that.
Hey, something is better than all of nothing.
Exactly.
All right.
Yep. Great stuff, you guys. Great stuff. I like these kind of calls.
As a side note,
what's that?
As a side note, what I started doing now, because of what you were talking about, I just say, hey, are you available between 8 and 10 in the morning? That way I can call whoever I want to, when I want to, and I still did what I said in the eyes of the seller.
Yeah.
If you're trying to get money from me, I don't care. But if I'm trying to get something for you, then I'm gonna make sure I live up to what I say.
Sure.
Right.
Salespeople, yeah, call me tomorrow at 3 o'clock. I'll make sure I don't answer that phone.
Right. Yep. Yeah, that's another point, right, Mike? I mean, you've been in sales. How many times? Yeah, call me tomorrow at 3, and they don't answer.
Never.
They
Yeah,
never
very
do.
rare.
You're setting yourself up for
Push
failure.
this sucker off. We're good.
Yeah. Oh, 3 o'clock. That's that call I didn't want to take. Thanks for letting me know.
Professional ghosting.
Exactly.
Hey, what goes around comes around. We do it and we take it.
Love it. I love it.
I tried that crap as a financial planner.
What's
Waste half
that?
your day. Trying to be in the financial planning business, you waste half your damn day chasing crap. It's such bullshit.
But I mean, it's like any other sales position, man. You got to build that pipeline, and it's a numbers game. You know, you're going to get X number of leads, X of them going to fall out, X of them won't be qualified, and this X right here will turn into actual leads. So anytime that pipeline stops, and I've been guilty of it several times, that pipeline stop, bruh, it hurts.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nursemaiding people for their own personal financial shit gets old quick.
Yeah.
I'm serious. It's crazy.
I'm going baptismal by fire. I'm calling for sale by owners. And those are the hardest leads to call. So once I actually get people starting to call my ass, then you're gonna see some closing then at that point, because I'm gonna make them take them.
Yep.
Start off hard, and then once you can get them calling you, then it becomes easy at that point.
Well,
Mike, I got a question for you.
You know what's funny about that, Mike? Something that's really hit home, and this is from another one of the deals I attended, and not only that, I've been listening to a sales call from All Leads. The guy is smart as a tack. I tell you what, they approach it completely different of more so being a resource. So when you're calling those for sale by owner guys, create a resource. The guys from All the Leads, they have approached probate aspect by creating a network of individuals that they can help that homeowner with. And so when you're calling these for sale by owner guys, I mean, one of the guys, Jason Palisar, it's like, you know, we may not buy your house, but maybe we can help you out, point you in the right direction. What resources, what's not getting addressed? But furthermore, on the all leads deal, they're creating, you know, they want probate attorneys, they want estate auction people, they want senior living people, they want all these other deals. And so rather than approach it as a, hey, I want to buy your house, they approach it as a, what are the challenges that you're dealing with on your property right now, and how can I help you? I've got a team of professionals in my network that, you know, can help with, you know, senior moving when you're dealing with antiques, you know, dealing with, you know, even financial planners, because they're dealing with inheritance issues and probate issues, probate attorneys. So if you create it more of as a resource for them, I think you're going to be a lot easier than, hey, I want to buy your house.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Yeah,
That's a great idea.
And to piggyback off of calling FSBOs, I mean, and you guys all know my story. That's where I started, Mike. And that script, I wrote it that way because these people already had a price in mind, and I had to break it down, right? And so you know, Wade and I both have different experiences, and we both have a lot of experience in sales, and I can see the value in that. The other side of that, like the flip coin, if you devil's advocate it, is a lot of times, you know, where is the mentality on calling FSBOs? FSBOs think that they can do it on their own, and they're confident in that, and that's why they started out. However, if you look at FSBOs that are 60 days and 90 days out, where they're starting to lie to themselves and telling themselves that they can't do it because they know what's best, or maybe they don't, and you go through that script, well, now their 200 price point turns into 135 without the realtor, because that's where it should be with the realtor. But maybe those challenges that they are incurring, you know, that pass method, right? Pain, agitate it, and then provide that solution, right? Like Wade was talking about. Well, that solution is you and your service, but only after they've realized that their pain and their frustrations in dealing with it. You know, 20 million realtors calling you, and none of them are even halfway realistic. They're over promising and under delivering, and you listed it, and that's why you want to do it on your own. Gosh, that's got to be overwhelming and frustrating. So how long have you been trying to sell this thing all by yourself?
Yeah,
right? Digging in that way, and then turning it around to, you know, gosh, a lot of the third-party affirmations, right? Like a lot of the people that I work with find that when we close in 30 days or less and at or around the price that they want, and save them the headache, the time, the trouble of the realtor fees, the closing costs and all that, that it turns out to be a win-win, and you get what you want sooner than later. So let's talk about the house. What exactly have you been experiencing, and what's the feedback that you've been getting? You know, well, so-and-so wanted me to do this, and you'll realize really quick that these people are bitching and complaining about every little thing once they get to that 60 to 90 day mark of the FSBOs, where, you know, yeah, he said I need a new roof, but I just put one on there like 7 years ago. wow, 7 years ago, gosh, that's got to be frustrating. Like, what did they say was wrong with the roof? And then they tell you, and guess what? Because they told you they own it. Oh, wow. So it needs new flashings. Have you priced that out yet? Well, I called the guy. He never came. Gosh, that's got to be overwhelming. So you got to get this fixed in order to sell, but you don't even know how much it's going to cost. May I share? The average home that's 2,000 square foot and whatever that is on roof square, like 12 square roof or whatever. Like, I mean, you're looking at easily $3 to $5 grand, and if it's got leaks, you might need to have to replace the boards underneath. And now you're looking 7 to 10 grand. Do you have an extra 10 grand to get the extra 2 that a roof brings to the house? Because that doesn't really make a lot of sense to me. Yeah, that's right. And they don't tell you that, but they start to recognize that that's overwhelming, and they don't have the extra 10 grand, nor do they want to get the extra 2 grand that a roof brings to the house. And now you've got them to come down 10 grand versus the 2 grand that it brings. And now their 200 is 190. Now let's talk about the bathroom, right? The bathroom, then the kitchen. And you sit there and you just go right through that checklist on the script and talk about each thing and rack each thing individually and the pain on each one. And then, wow. So you need to look at replacing or updating the bathrooms, and you've got 2 of those, and the kitchen and the roof. Gosh, I could see why you want to just get rid of this thing sooner than later. So I'm curious to get this thing checked off your list. Like, if I gave you cash today, what's the absolute lowest amount you take for the house? And you'll find that 200 they had it listed at, it's more like 140 or 150. And because they didn't know how to price it right up here and they thought they were discounting it anyways, it might be a good deal, especially with what resources you have and doing the creative stuff.
Yeah, I found that don't even bother talking to them for the first 30 days.
Exactly.
Because they have hope. They think that they're going to put it on there, and there's a possibility that actually may sell. After about 30 days, they've been hit up by 50 different realtors trying to pitch them on, try to list the damn thing. They've got a bunch of wholesalers calling lowball it or offering them cash, based on the thing. And then even if it's a nice, pretty house that doesn't need any work, they still have people trying to lowball them on that as well. So it's,
I don't know if you can see that. It says delayed bills.
mm-hmm.
So this is my personal notes section of my phone where I make notes and just quotes and thoughts and things like that when I'm in meditation or whatever. That was a note that I made to myself back in 2012 when I was first getting started and I was prospecting. And I was like, delayed bills, like anybody that's out at least 60 days or greater. I wouldn't touch anything 60 days or newer. I wouldn't do it for that reason right there. That was one of the notes I made to myself. So when I was running those, Fizbo.com and Zillow, all the ones that had their house for sale by owner, I wouldn't touch them unless they were 60 days out. And that's where I started cold calling.
Yeah, that's I found that it's, for me, definitely over 30 days, they seem to be more receptive. I'm now starting to get 60 and 90 day leads starting now because I only started a couple months back, so now I'm starting to get that pipeline starting to get full up. So I'll be able to start really kind of hammering these things.
And you guys will find if you do that, if you, for whatever reason, you want to call those leads, you'll find that after 60 days, the first 20 to 30 is when all the realtors called and gave their pitch that was half-assed anyways, most of the time. But now they haven't been called in a month. And so now they're looking for that lifeline, and they're struggling to figure that out on their own because nobody else is calling them either after that long.
Yeah, and I also, for my flow chart that I put together, if it goes off to I need to be cashed out immediately, then I have them going into my wholesale script and also a listing agreement, so that way I can just kind of, circle back off and then just try to figure it that way. So I'm starting off with terms and then going to wholesaling and then going to listing. And,
Yeah.
you know, we'll see what, you know, how it's all going to progress. But then when I get a deal in, when I get the first deal in, I'm going to do Facebook. I'm going to get Facebook going, and I'm going to get Google AdWords.
We'll hold off on that because this project that Kyle and I have been working on will help all of you guys out with stuff like with the marketing. So before you go into AdWords and AdSense and all that, hold off on that, brother. Make sure you get with me before you're ready to do that. I do need to wrap this up, you guys, but I appreciate you guys. This was a great call. It was a little different than most Q&A call, but there was a lot of like jam-packed rapid fire, and I like these kind of calls. So I really appreciate you guys. Kazeem, I will see you tomorrow at 11 a.m. my time, 12 your time. If you guys need anything, admin@reiresultsacademy.com. Shoot us a message, and yeah, say a prayer for me. I have a safe flight because I'm traveling this weekend, and I will see you guys next Tuesday. And yeah. Oh, if you're not a part of Leading Through Change, get on Leading Through Change. Sunday night at 7:30, my son's going to be laying it out. He's already got like 5 or 6 points. He's got his blueprint, as he calls it. If you know anybody with kids, have them jump in that Leading Through Change group because Cran's going to be bringing the fire Sunday night. And then on Monday, we've got Susan Stageman in there teaching some NLP practices and things like that. Wade, I seen you put your hand up. Do you have a question, brother?
Hell no. I was saying, see you. Be safe.
Oh.
Have a good trip.
Peace.
Peace.
Love you guys. Appreciate y'all. Have a good weekend.
All right, brother. Safe flight, man. Have a good one. You guys take care.
Take care, guys. Bye-bye.